He just got named an All-Star for the first time and couldn't survive the first inning. Yoshinobu Yamamoto gets rocked as the Dodgers drop their fourth straight. What is going on with this team?
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, your team every day. Los Angeles takes another L as they kick off their final road trip before the All-Star break, facing the Brewers in Milwaukee. There's movement on the team's roster with a player landing on the IL right after being slated to help cover at third base during Max Muncy's absence. And was Andy Pages an All-Star game snub? We will look into that in today's show. I'm Harry Ruiz, Spanish radio broadcaster, play-by-play announcer for both the Las Vegas Raiders and the USC football team. I'm a native Angelino and a die-hard Dodgers fan who just joined the Locked On Dodgers podcast as a co-host with ESPN LA's Travis Rogers, who will be back in action tomorrow here with me. When Travis got the opportunity to start hosting this show, he got to talk a lot about dubs for the boys in blue, victories, wins. Before being swept by the Astros this past weekend, the Dodgers had won 7 series in a row, including 15 victories in an 18-game span. Now, they've lost 4 in a row after dropping their series opener in Milwaukee against the Brewers. Don't blame me. It's not my fault. I'm just hosting the show. It's just a coincidence that they haven't won since I've joined the Locked On family. LA fans, we felt very confident on Monday because it was Yoshinobu Yamamoto Day. The Japanese ace, the ace of this pitching staff, was taking the mound. And the Dodgers, they hoped that he would set the tone to start this road trip right, to start it with a win. But it was far from it. For the first time in his major league career, which spans less than 20 months, Yoshi didn't get out of the first inning. He surrendered a 3-run bomb to Andrew Vaughn, who was making his debut with the Brew Crew. Then, 3 batters later, a Mookie Betts throwing error extended the inning, and after an RBI single from the next batter, Yoshi was yanked by Dave Roberts. Look at this stat. That home run that he surrendered to Vaughn is the 10th that he has given up in his first 18 games this season. Go back to last year, his rookie campaign, he allowed 7 home runs in an 18-game span. Let's remember, he was out for a while, so during his full rookie season, he only played for 18 regular season games. So we already saw a jump from 7 home runs last year in the regular season to 10, and we're not even in the All-Star break yet. So that's something that is kind of concerning, and I hope that Yoshinobu Yamamoto gets it a little bit together. After getting pulled in the first inning, that meant that the Dodgers bullpen had to pitch 7+ innings for the 14th time this season. Before the game, they had a 10-3 record in such games. Add another loss after that 9-1 defeat. 10-4 in games where the bullpen pitchers need to pitch at least 7 innings. Fortunately, they didn't use their high-leverage guys by sending out Jack Dreyer and Lou Trevino, who did a good job. They combined to retire 10 batters in a row. Then Will Klein, Anthony Banda, and the recently added and called up Julian Fernandez ate through the last 4 innings. Look at the glass half full. In the second half of the season, instead of using Klein and Fernandez, who allowed 2 runs each, the Dodgers, in that spot, they're going to be able to use players potentially like the Young Bucks, Justin Wrobleski and Ben Kasparius, who had been pitching in those spots where it was a bullpen game and they got the bulk of the innings, and they have been doing a pretty good job until this past weekend against the Astros. For the second game in a row, the Dodgers bats had both 7 hits and only 1 run scored. That's bad. That's not good, because that means that over the last 4 games, the Dodgers have had 3 games where they have only sent 1 runner to the plate. I mean, for this type of payroll, for this type of roster, for the guys that you have on the team, when you have Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith at the top of your lineup, and they're going up to the plate at least 3 times per game, and you only score 1 run? What's going on with the offense right now for the Dodgers? They've definitely caught a slump. They're struggling right now, but you can't be just scoring 1 run per game. Kershaw was used to it back in the day. Do you remember when he was the best pitcher in baseball and the Dodgers went out and they were like, Kershaw's going to pitch a complete game shutout. We just need 1 run. And yeah, a lot of times it worked. Right now, this team is struggling to get runners all the way home. And let's see if they're doing it, because they're also missing those home runs, and that's been a bad situation for the Dodgers, a home run dependent team. You have to try and figure out a way to construct runs, to get runners on base, to get them in scoring position, bunt them over, get them in a position where with a fly ball they can score. But the Dodgers, they have been a home run dependent team, and I'm not just talking about this season, but you go back a couple of years, including last year and the year before that, and they're a team that loves living and dying by the long ball. And look, I understand. I love baseball. If you're watching this podcast or listening to it, I know you love baseball as well. We both understand that bad stretches happen. And this has now tied their season-long 4-game losing streak. Let's go back to when they lost 3 in a row and got swept by the Angels in Dodger Stadium at Chavez Ravine. The next day, after getting swept by the Angels, they lost to the D-backs. So that was the other 4-game losing streak they've had this season. What happened after that? The team caught fire, and they got to the spot where they were just a couple of days ago, having the best record in baseball. Then after that sweep to the Astros, here comes the loss against the Brewers. Will they be able to react in a positive manner and just put it out of their system and get back in the winning ways? I mean, literally, just before the Astros series, we were all up here because the team had the best record in baseball. Right now, we're feeling a little bit lower. I know that there's different variations of us. I'm worried. I'm not liking that the team not only is losing, but the way that they're losing. This game against the Brewers, the series opener, it was done by the first inning. Done. Same way as the game on Friday on 4th of July. Done early in the game. Now, you got to start getting positive traction. You got to have a good start. Hopefully it happens with Kershaw on Tuesday. You got to have runners getting sent home early and often. And then you start getting that confidence back. And I understand there's absences in that lineup, but show me a team in baseball right now that doesn't have an injured starter. Show me a team in baseball that doesn't have an injured starting pitcher. There isn't. You're midway through the season. You're 90-plus games into the campaign. Everybody's hurting, and you just got to fight through it, especially when you spend the way that the Dodgers have spent. Because also, how many times have we heard so far since the sweep against the Astros? We have to wash it away. We have to turn the page. And I'm not talking about Metallica's song. But the reality is that the Dodgers, they have to learn from these situations, because their record against teams that are over 500 is now 20-20. And guess what? During the postseason, every team is going to be over 500. Every team is going to be throwing at you their best pitchers. Every team, if they're in the playoffs, they got some dynamite in their lineup. So the Dodgers, they got to start stacking up wins against teams that have a winning record. They did so against the Padres. They did so against the Giants. And they're your divisional rivals. And there's a good chance that you're going to face one or the other in the playoffs, if not both. But right now, just start getting that confidence up against teams that have winning records, because it hasn't been happening often for the Dodgers this campaign. And I know it's not helping that the Dodgers are missing a key component of their lineup in Max Muncy, who has a left knee injury. To make matters worse, one of the players who was going to help fill in at third base is now on the IL with Max. I'll tell you all about it coming up next on Locked On Dodgers.
Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned on the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions like Dinger Tuesdays and fun ways to bet each and every game. Plus, it's easy to use with fast payouts, and it makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet ride into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but also on X, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also find me on social media at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. I love being able to talk baseball with fellow Dodgers fans, so follow me there. Drop a comment. Let me know that you found me on the Locked On Dodgers podcast. Yesterday, I was telling you about how Kiké Hernández was slated as one of the players to fill in for Max Muncy while the starting third baseman for the Dodgers is recovering from a left knee injury, which will be at least 6 weeks that he's on the IL. But also how Kiké Hernández was held out of Sunday's game with a left elbow soreness. Well, it got to a point where Los Angeles had to end up placing Kiké on the 10-day IL with that left elbow issue that he has had since late May. But he had kept it hush from the skipper because he wanted to keep playing. But the pain got to a point where it's intolerable, where he can't handle it anymore, so now he needs some time off. He hasn't been having a good season, batting under 200 right now while only starting 40% of the Dodgers games this season, and we know it's tough when you're not playing consistently out there, when you're getting spot starts depending on who's pitching, depending on the type of numbers that you have against either a reliever or a starting pitcher from another team, or the team's need for the Dodgers out in the outfield or at third base. So Kiké Hernández, he's been a warrior. He's been out there and he's been trying to take advantage of every opportunity that he has with the boys in blue. In his place, the Dodgers called up outfielder James Outman, who after finishing third place in Rookie of the Year, in the National League Rookie of the Year voting in 2023, he has found himself more in AAA than in the majors. This year, he has only played 9 games with LA, going 3 for 24 with 2 home runs and 4 ribbies. This before coming back up with the team on Monday. Meanwhile, with the OKC Comets, he was batting almost 300 with 20 home runs, 74 RBI, and 14 steals in 24 games. That's pretty good numbers right there for Outman. He got a double in his return to the big leagues on Monday, and now let's see how many opportunities he receives now that he's with the Dodgers once again, and most importantly, if he can take advantage of them. For now, he went 1 for 4 on Monday. He got that double. Let's see if he impresses the Dodgers brass now that there's opportunities opening up for players to see more playing time with injuries happening right now for the Dodgers. And speaking of injuries, regarding Teoscar Hernandez and Tommy Edman, the good news is that they didn't land on the IL after getting hit by baseballs on their feet on Saturday. But their availability at the moment is limited to coming off of the bench. But Dave Roberts is hopeful that they can be on the lineup once again on Wednesday. So right there, it was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days that they don't have to be Teo at right field, Tommy Edman at a second base, and that hopefully not having to be running up and down in both positions helps these guys to be in a better place and be able to contribute once again for the Dodgers. Now, let's talk about a player that is going to be definitely playing on Wednesday, and that's Tyler Glasnow, who will be getting the start in the series finale against the Brewers in what will be his first game in the majors since April 27th, and this is huge for the Dodgers, getting back one of those pitchers that they're paying six figures for that has been in the IL more than playing for the team on the field, being on the bump for them. And let's see in what capacity Glasnow will be contributing to the team, because you saw him in AAA. He had good results mixed with bad results, but at the end of the day, he's a major league starter. He's a guy that earned this paycheck that he's getting from the Dodgers, and any team in baseball, I can guarantee you that they would take him in a heartbeat to be in their rotation. The Dodgers have him. Now he's recovered from that injury. Now let's see what kind of results he brings to LA. In other moves, the Dodgers also called up 29-year-old right-handed pitcher Julian Fernandez, who was 3-0 with a 4.08 ERA with the OKC. Not bad for the Pacific Coast League, because I lived in El Paso, Texas, where they have the El Paso Chihuahuas, and covered them for a long time. I live in Vegas, where they used to be the Las Vegas 51s, and now they're the Las Vegas Aviators. Man, baseball in the PCL is explosive. There's runs left and right, and if you blink, you might end up seeing a 5-run deficit becoming a 2-run lead, because that's the kind of baseball that they play in the PCL. So a 4.08 ERA in the PCL, believe it or not, it's not that bad. With Fernandez coming up to the big team, left-handed pitcher Justin Wrobleski, he has been optioned to AAA after pitching between 4 and 6 innings in a total of 6 times since June 6th. He was being used either as a starter or the man following an opener, and doing a good job for the Dodgers. That start on Saturday against the Astros, 5 runs between his first 2 innings pitched after Shohei Ohtani opened the game. That was rough, but then he ended up getting 10-plus batters out consecutively in a row. So there's good, there's bad, and like I said, I feel that Wrobleski, sooner rather than later, is going to be back with the active roster, and the Dodgers might be using him in the bullpen, and that would be a good spot for Wrobleski, I feel. Plus, another move. A lot of moves for the Dodgers for a Monday. They had the front office moving really, really fast and furious out there. Infielder C.J. Alexander was designated for assignment after claiming him off waivers from the New York Yankees last week. But someone that the Dodgers will definitely not be DFAing is center fielder Andy Pages. In just a moment, should the big dog have been selected to the All-Star game? What do you think? If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe. If the first plumber you called didn't answer, did you wait? No, you just went to the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important. And that's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. And the AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so a customer's call never goes to voicemail and always gets a response. OpenPhone is offering Locked On Dodgers listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnMLB. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. Who doesn't like free? OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Thank you for tuning in wherever you may be via your favorite podcast app or on our YouTube channel, which keeps growing every single day. Turn on your notifications. That way you'll get the heads up the moment a new episode or a YouTube short drops with the latest Dodgers news. It was awesome interacting with a lot of our subscribers who left comments on Monday's show on our YouTube channel. So today, let me know if you think Andy Pages should have been selected as an All-Star. First off, let's talk about that at the moment, the Dodgers, they have Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. These 3 players are slated to be in the starting lineup for the National League during the mid-season All-Star game. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he got selected as a reserve, and Clayton Kershaw as a legend pick by Commissioner Rob Manfred. Just a heads up, Yamamoto isn't pitching in the All-Star game because he is scheduled to be the starting pitcher for the Dodgers in their game on Sunday in San Francisco. So Yamamoto, he gets to be named an All-Star, but he won't be playing in the All-Star game. This is the 6th consecutive year with the Dodgers having at least 5 All-Stars. It's the 8th time out of the last 10 years they have a minimum of 5 players representing the team at the All-Star game. You can see literally when Guggenheim started spending a lot of bucks, a lot of money on the team, and you start getting a lot of All-Stars. But that's credit for them. There's no salary cap. They spend money to bring a lot of talent to Los Angeles, and they get this kind of recognition in the big leagues with the All-Star game. LA this year, they had the opportunity to have up to 8 starters in the All-Star game because every starter for the Dodgers, with the exception of Michael Conforto, they were finalists in the fan vote. But nowadays, the boys in blue, they're villains in the major leagues and had fans from other teams just voting for every player that wasn't a Dodger. But also, realistically, I think we can legitimately say the only real snub this year was center fielder Andy Pages. And I'd obviously also add Max Muncy, but he's injured, so we won't even get into a fight for that. We all love Mookie Betts. We all love the NLCS MVP Tommy Edman. We love Teoscar Hernandez, but this season, they're not playing, in my opinion, in an all-star level right now. So let's turn our attention to Andy Pages, who in my opinion is. He, on the other hand, leads the team in runs batted in, 2nd in hits, and home runs as well, 3rd in WAR, runs scored, stolen bases, and doubles. I mean, when you're playing in a team that has Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, you got Mookie Betts, Will Smith, Max Muncy, you got that caliber of players, and you're talking about Andy Pages being top 3 in a lot of offensive, a lot of batting statistics, that shows you what kind of a player he is. And then look over at the way he plays at center field. Great catches, great outfield assists with throws over to 2nd, 3rd, home, and getting outs, saving runs for the Dodgers. This kid, he's a legit all-star. He deserves to be in this game. I mean, when you look at players who generate runs and play great defense, they usually get an invite to the All-Star game. But that wasn't the case this year for Andy. Let's remember, early in the season, he had a very rough start. Specifically the first 3 weeks. He was batting .159 over his first 20 games, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. I remember reading on social media both reporters and fans asking for him to get demoted and sent back to AAA and bring somebody back up or get another player out there in the outfield. Dave Roberts stuck with him, and now we have a player that you trust in big spots, and you hope that he is out there when the team needs him the most because he's been that good for the Dodgers right now. Since struggling in his first 20 games of the season, he's one of the best Dodgers players. He's batting over 300 in that span, belting 15 home runs to go along with 53 RBIs since that struggling start. The thing here is, you look over at the starters voted by the fans. PCA Armstrong from the Cubs. He's an MVP candidate. That guy is playing lights out in his 30th year in the big leagues. He deserves to be a starter. Then let's look at the other 2 guys. Ronald Acuna. Limited playing time this year due to injury. He's still one of the best players in the big leagues. He's an all-star. The fans voted him in. I got nothing against him. I would have preferred Pages this year over Acuna just because of sample size, but it's an all-star game. They love stars, and fans, they go with the most recognizable names. And Acuna, is there a reason to not like Ronald Acuna? I feel there's not. I like the kid. He's a very good player. He's a likable player, and he's out there in the all-star team. Kyle Tucker. He has similar numbers to Andy Pages. The thing is, the starters get voted by the fans. So The fans went with these three. I think they got it right with PCA. I think Pages could have given the other two a run for their money. Now, let's go with the reserves. Those get voted by the players. Kyle Stowers from the Marlins. He's the only Marlins player, so he's going to be there. James Wood. He's having an incredible season with the Washington Nationals. His second year in the big leagues, he's killing it. You compare stats between Wood and Andy Pages, you would prefer having Wood on your team. Now let's go with the other players. Corbin Carroll from the Arizona Diamondbacks. He had a small stint on the IL. He's back, but you compare numbers, they're similar numbers. Corbin Carroll, more of a household name. Then Fernando Tatis Jr. Only numbers that he's better than Andy Pages are stolen bases and OBP. I'll leave it right there at that. I know that a lot of people are going to say we're haters because we're Dodgers fans, we're Dodgers supporters, and we don't like the Padres, and they're very competitive with us. The little brother that wants to be in the big bro's shoes but never is able to do so. I mean, you look at Tatis's numbers and you look at Pages' numbers, and I feel and I know that Pages is having a better season than Tatis, but like I said, it's the all-star game. You say Fernando Tatis on ESPN SportsCenter or any national TV show or radio show, people know who Fernando Tatis Jr. is. You say Andy Pages' name, and you got to be a baseball nut, a baseball aficionado, somebody that's big time into the game to say, yeah, I know who he is. He's that awesome Cuban outfielder the Dodgers have who's both batting and out and fielding balls really well. So that's the problem here right now. Like I said, I feel that Andy Pages has better credentials in 2025 than four of the outfielders that are going to be playing in the All-Star game for the National League. But, I mean, you look at players. Pages, he locks it down on the outfield. He holds it down on the plate, but it doesn't seem like it's meant to be in 2025 because the only way that he'll potentially get an invite to the All-Star game this year is with an injury from one of the 8 players who already have their spot in the National League locked on. So I'm never going to wish anybody to get injured, no matter what. So I'll just wait and see. If there's an injury in the outfield between one of the guys in the National League in this final week before the All-Star game, Andy Pages better be in there. He better get an invite for the All-Star game. But I don't hope it happens. And look, let's look at it this way as well. Hopefully, first off, it serves him as fuel. It serves him as motivation to have a monster second half for the Dodgers. But also, it's not a long break, but you got a couple of days off if you're not invited to the All-Star game. You don't have to be out there cheering out for the guys in the home run derby. You don't have to be out there during the All-Star game just waiting for an at-bat and maybe an inning or two being a defensive player. So if they get a day off, if they get a chance to rest a little bit, recover, get ready for the second half of the season and benefit the Dodgers that way, I would take it. Let me know your thoughts, because I know, personally, I would love to see Andy Pages in the All-Star game. When the Dodgers posted that video of Dave Roberts announcing to the team which players had been picked to the All-Star game, when he said, first time, I was like, ooh, hopefully they say Andy Pages' name. And no, it was Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who also deserves it. But we'll wait and see the next couple of days. If something happens, Pages better be in there. That's it for today, so thank you for making Locked On Dodgers for your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Both Travis Rogers and myself will be back tomorrow with either the Dodgers having their worst losing streak of the year or finally getting back to their winning ways during the second game of their 3-game series in Milwaukee. Take care and go blue!